Hey everyone, and welcome to the video. This is going to be a little bit different to my usual content of painting tutorials, as if you're a long time follower of this channel you'll know that now and again I do come on and do some gear reviews and tell you about some interesting products that I personally use and something that I think you guys might get something from. With all that said, let's jump into the video. So the main feature of this review is obviously the new Gaahleri GTx-778. This is part of their Apex series. It's one of their flagship air compressors that they've just released, and in this video I'm going to be telling you a little bit about it and approaching this review from more of a real world, what's it like to use, what's it like operating, and then at the end I'm going to get into my final conclusion of who I think this unit is for and my final thoughts around it. So what is this new air compressor all about? Why is it any different to any of the other air compressors that are currently out there on the market? So I'm just going to briefly go over some of the stats, and there'll be a link in the description below if you're a numbers guy and you want to see all the stats, numbers, and people testing them with decibel meters and all that sort of stuff. But I'll just give you a quick rundown. Like I said, if you do want to go and check more out about this product, then make sure you do hit that link in the description below. So the air compressor itself is quite a big boy. It's a large unit. It's almost like a very small generator, and it does weigh a little bit, so it is 18 kilograms, but it's still on the lighter side of the air compressors. It also operates from 0 to 116 PSI. Now you might be thinking, why would I need 116 PSI? If I put that through my airbrush, it's going to blow that cap straight off, which it may do, which I'm not going to try on this video. But what that means is you can also plug other tools into this air compressor. So whether that be other tools that you might use out there, such as sanders and drills, and a wide plethora of different tools, which I'm sort of looking into at the minute, because you know, I'm always looking for products that are going to improve my workflow and overall just make life easier for me. It also has a 6-litre air capacity with its tanks, and this results in longer working times, and it only takes 45 seconds for that to fill up. So from 0 to full, it only takes 45 seconds. It also comes with dual output, where you can also plug some other products in there. So from one line you can actually use 4 airbrushes. It has shock resistant oil gauges, and then obviously it comes with a really nice LED power button. Looking around the product, it is very nicely designed with its aluminium body, and the frame's also designed in a way with its rubber feet to absorb any vibrations, which also makes this unit quieter. Now this is one of the more silent airbrush compressors currently out there on the market, which is what drew me and appealed me. So I'm currently in the process of moving properties where I'm going to have a larger space to work in and my own little studio, so I'm in the process of that. I'm doing that, but at the current moment in time I have to be very selective when I'm using my airbrush, because you'll know when if you're someone that's got an airbrush compressor, they can be quite loud and you don't want to be disturbing people around you. Because I only live in a very small property at the moment, and once it gets to night time, that's pretty much it for me. I can't really do any airbrushing, which is really good about this, because I'm able to use this now on nights or in times when I don't really want to disturb people. I've even had times where my son's not been well and he's had to come into my room, and I've continued airbrushing and it's not even disturbed him at all. And we'll get into a couple of clips of, you know, how loud it is and stuff a little bit later on, but that's one of the main features that really drew me to this product. You know, you've probably seen me do a couple of videos around Gaahleri products, but I absolutely love their products, and even the packaging, everything feels a little bit like Apple-esque. I wouldn't like when you get that unboxing experience, and if people are into that, but it does feel very like premium and Apple-esque. But also this airbrush compressors, you get a lot of different types of airbrush compressors, but this one is an oil airbrush compressor, which something of this size and how it operates, you'd expect it needs a little bit of something else to maintain that operation of the unit. So if you're not sure what that is, basically what it means is you do have to put a little bit of oil in these, which does come in the packaging, and it'll last a long time. It's every few months, depending on the usage that you use on it, that you'll have to change that oil. And it's a super simple job. So if you're used to putting water or thinners in an airbrush, it's nothing hard. There's a little pipe on the back that you disconnect, empty that oil, and just top it up to the fill line with some oil. It's not like a big job. You don't have to break anything down or, you know, take it to a mechanic or anything to do anything like that. It just means that rather than like your traditional style, but because this needs a bit more power and oomph behind it, that's why it is an oil airbrush compressor. So that's just something to take into consideration when looking at this product. But most units of this size will be oil based, something along those lines. So it just requires a tiny little bit of maintenance every few months or so like that, but it's not a biggie. Like I said, you just pull pipe off, empty it and fill it back up to top line. So what does that silent motor actually sound like in the real world? So I'm going to try it and do my best, because audio doesn't always come through perfect depending on your volume and everything like that, but I'm going to try and do a couple of different ones from my phone, one from the camera, and one from the audio off the camera as well. And just in comparison to the 7 kit, which is the current and the only other airbrush compressor that I own, I did have an older one, but I've ended up giving that to a family friend, as it was, you know, it weren't really cutting it for what I needed it for. But this is just in comparison to the 7 kit. So hopefully you can judge it a little bit by those audios of how loud this unit actually is. But compared to other airbrushes that I've owned, this one definitely is on the quieter side, considerably a lot quieter. One thing to take into note is once it has filled up, there is almost an audible click. It's nothing that will disturb anyone around you. It's not even that loud, but it is just worth mentioning, because I know someone will probably pick it up that there's a click and you'll probably think that wakes everyone up, but it doesn't. It's no louder than clicking your finger. If anything, it's quieter than clicking your fingers. Along with this, Gaahleri also sent me some of their newer products, like this airbrush toolkit, which is a fantastic little kit. Now that I've got quite a few airbrushes and needle sizes and stuff, it's a really good tool to keep everything, and along with the cleaning and those little stickers that you get, it's just nice to keep everything in one space. And they also sent me their table clamp, which is what I use to store all my airbrushes, and then also they sent me the other unit that you can use in conjunction with this, which will allow you to use 4 airbrush lines just from one singular point on this airbrush, even though there's 2. And I think it's a great little tool, so you're not having to bend down depending on where you place this, and you can just adjust that air pressure, and it's also a holder for your airbrushes. So conclusion time, who do I think this is for? What are my general thoughts around it, and ultimately, is it worth going out and spending your hard-earned cash on this product? So it looks good, it operates unbelievably, the build quality is out of this world. Now, a lot of people might be looking at the price of it, because it does come with a little bit more of a hefty price tag, which might be a lot of money for people to go out there and spend their cash on. But one thing I want to put in here is, you know, what's the difference from using something like this 778 to something smaller like this? Because this, compared to this, will not make you a better airbrusher. It's not going to improve, you know, the quality of your airbrushing, or ultimately make your airbrushing a lot better just from having a different air compressor. It's a tool at the end of the day, and everything from, in my eyes, for why you'd want this product comes down to what you need. So if you're not into airbrushing, or if you haven't got much working space, or you don't really want to splash out a lot, then go and check out the video I did on this, because this, I recommend this to everybody. It comes with everything that you need, and it's small, compact, and it's ultimately a great affordable price. But this, for me, it's more of a tool of efficiency. So for someone like me who's a content creator, and you know, I'm using multiple airbrushes sometimes, and you know, like for speed and efficiency and just being able to get through my working day without disturbing people, or even at night times, that silent motor for me is just an absolute more sort of, you know, that's the main reason that I wanted this unit. If you're someone that's needing that power and efficiency that this provides, then also it makes sense to go out and get something like this if you're needing those higher pressures. But if you're someone that mainly paints on a night time like me, and you don't want to disturb your family, then yeah, I'd say go out and get this. But also I think this is going to be great for people in our industry who are doing classes or tutorials and all that sort of stuff, like live ones at conventions and stuff, and you may have a few employees that need it, or if you've got a few people around you that you're teaching airbrushing and you need all those extra hose connections and stuff and the power that this can put out without having the addition of other air compressors, then yeah, that one's for you as well. I think the average hobbyist ain't really going to go out and spend the money on this, especially if they're not really into airbrushing or they only airbrush now and again. Like I said, for that, go and get this. But if you're someone like me who's a content creator who needs that power, that workflow and that efficiency, then definitely this product is for you. Now I know I've sort of glossed over some of the features and stuff like that of this product, but there's plenty of videos out there already discussing this, and like I said, you can click on link in the description to go out and get them. But if you do have any questions around this product or anything you want to know, then please let me know in the comment section and I reply to them all. So yeah, if you've got any questions, then do let me know. But ultimately I wanted to come at this from a real world perspective. And one thing I have noticed with this is because it can run for 6 minutes continuously, if you just hold your airbrush down, there will come out before it takes that 45 seconds to refill. I did notice that for someone like us who's using lower PSIs, and you'll notice some ways, the ways we paint, we're not always on the trigger. It's like little taps of the trigger, like on and off. I found that this, like my old airbrush compressor, well, like every 2 to 3 minutes, even doing it slow like that, it were having to refill. Whereas this one, I was getting around 20 to 30 minutes of like usage in the way that we airbrush before it started to fill up. So, you know, again, that efficiency of it firing up, and there's some nights I've painted where it's not even refilled and I've just gone in and turned it off. But yeah, I can highly recommend this product. It is a premium product, it's their flagship. If you've got the cash for it and you want all those cool little features, and if that's going to improve your painting, then yeah, go out and get it. But ultimately, if you're just beginning airbrushing or you're not really sure, you know, if you don't need all that sort of stuff and you're just painting a few miniatures or whatever, then yeah, go and get this. So ultimately, it's a fantastic product that I highly recommend. You won't be disappointed with this purchase, and it'll last you a very long time. How quiet it is just like probably the main feature for me of this product and why I wanted it. If you do have the budget for this airbrush compressor and you need all of its features, then you won't be disappointed with this purchase. One extra little thing that I'd like to add is you will get 10% off as well using the code and the link in the description below if you want to go and grab any of Gaahlerie's products for yourself. So that 10% is included across all of their products as well, including their new Kaleido Colorworks paint range, which I've reviewed on this channel. They are by far the best primers and varnishes that I've ever used, and I've also got a video testing out those metallic paints as well, so make sure you go and check out them as well. And finally, just a massive thank you to Gaahleri for actually providing me with this so that I could fetch this review to you guys. And keep your eyes out as well, as in the future, if you're looking for a new airbrush, there may be something in the pipeline for this channel and this brand coming very shortly, so keep your eyes out for that as well. With all that said, I've been Nate the Foil Painter, and I will catch you in the next video.